Hey everybody, so welcome back to the Shadowlands. This is an odd entry in this playlist because I know that this is labeled as my Death Knight playthrough, and it is for the most part, but I wanted to do a follow-up to what we saw in the finale of the campaign here in Zereth Mortis, where we basically see the judgment of Sylvanas Windrunner. And what I was noticing was that some characters had text dialogue that seemed to be specific to if you were playing a Horde character. So, what I was thinking at the time was, I would like to see if there's different dialogue here if you're playing as an Alliance character. So, I have swapped over to the Demon Hunter that you guys have seen me playing here on this channel, doing the BFA Alliance content as well as the Venthyr content as separate playlists. And we're going to have my Demon Hunter here see the Alliance side.
I shall deliver the Crown of Wills to the Arbiter. Then we will bear witness to the fate of Sylvanas Windrunner.
And I'm sure you're wondering, doesn't your Demon Hunter look a little different? Yes. Let's just say that I was growing out of fondness of the model I was using before and swapped to the other one because I just think I just prefer this model and the animations. I just think that the model and the animations for the female Night Elves compared to the males just look better, in my opinion. I know they even added some extra faces for the male Night Elves, but I don't like any of them because they're all just frowny, angry faces, like "Rawr!" So, anyway, this is the current transmog that I have, that I'm still working on, but it's very Venthyr themed. You can be able to see here. I've got the campaign stuff here. I've got the shoulders from Xavius. I have the crown from the Vestments Venthyr set, and I've got the swords here with the enchantment that you get from the Quartermaster in Sinfall. And I thought it'd be great to put those on top of the red swords that you get here from that guy. So, very red Venthyr type of theme here. Plus, you guys know I love the black and red, so...
Be warned, their words will be harsh.
I expect no less.
I'm not going to try and show everything here. Some stuff I'm probably going to skip because I'm trying to find specific differences here from what we saw before. Pretty sure nothing here is going to be different until we get to the part where she jumps into the maw.
You defiled our sacred groves. Torment is all you deserve. Your sins are beyond measure!
How many souls have you doomed?
By the way, in case you're wondering, yes, I am reading the Sylvanas book. I am a good chunk of the way through it. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm getting...
You betrayed us all!
I've reached the point in Sylvanas' story from Warcraft 3.
My family, all burned to ashes.
So I've learned a lot about Sylvanas' past, including stuff that I never knew about. Let's just say I've got some extra context to Lament of the Highborn now that actually gets me a little emotional.
Is it justice they seek, or vengeance?
Anger and pain make it difficult to tell the difference.
By the way, one of the things I love is that I'm listening to the audiobook, and Sylvanas' voice actress is the one who reads the audiobook. And boy, she is great.
Hear the words of the...
So yeah, basically nobody has dialogue here any different. So let's just go ahead and get through this. We'll skip this cutscene since there shouldn't be any difference here. I went a little too fast there. Sorry. Or maybe not. Hold on. By the way, I finally got Blanchy. Yay! So yeah, I went a little too fast there. I'm sorry. Be like, send me back.
Trust in the purpose.
Sorry.
I will judge souls with compassion. True justice brings both punishment and renewal. I trust in Tyrande to achieve both.
Okay. So here is where I think we'll start to get some different dialogue here.
Now, after so long, there is much we need to say to one another.
I know, sisters. But judgment comes.
So, yeah, there's going to be some upcoming dialogue here with the Windrunner sisters that when I first made the finale for this, the video about the finale, I didn't know the context, but now that I've been reading the book, let's just say I now know more about that. So let's see. So, alright, so I want to point this out. On my Horde character, Jaina had literally nothing to say. Not a single word was said from Jaina on my Horde character. But here on my Alliance character, now Jaina actually has some dialogue. Hatred is a cycle, one that is all too easy to perpetuate. And forgiveness does not come easily to those who have been wronged. Years ago, I implored others to set aside their grievances and bring that cycle to an end. Only now, after so much has happened, do I grasp the enormity of what I was asking. Hatred and guilt have haunted me, as they have so many others. I still believe the cycle can be broken, though it takes relentless effort and a great deal of time.
There is much to be done.
The shadow of the things that I have seen, what the jailer forced me to do, hangs over me. For the part you played in setting me free, I will always be grateful. But I cannot pretend that I can simply go back to being the person I was. I need time. I must ask more of you. The Alliance will need your dedication, now more than ever.
We will set things right.
So, this is the one I was curious about. What does Greymane say? I will never forgive the Banshee for what she did to Teldrassil, or Gilneas, or my son. But for now, our focus must turn to Anduin. He will need our help to recover from what he has endured. He says that before Anduin tells him, yeah, I'm not coming back right away. So let's see what our buddies Bane, Lorthamar, and Thrall have to say as to my Alliance character.
The beauty of Eversong endures.
We Sindorai are no strangers to suffering and tragedy. I have seen my people massacred, my kingdom razed, and all I revere defiled. When Silvermoon at last rejoined the world, it was Sylvanas who extended her hand and welcomed us into the Horde. By the way, it's so clear why he is at times seems so reluctant to go against Sylvanas, because you really get the feel of the close friendship that Lorthamar and Sylvanas had while they were growing up in Silvermoon. That's made very clear in the book to me, that they definitely had a legit friendship. Those days are long behind us now. The devastation and loss inflicted upon Azeroth by the Banshee Queen is nigh incalculable. The knowledge that I stood by while so much of it happened still haunts me. Perhaps in the end, judgment will come for me as well.
Never again shall a king reign in Silvermoon.
What brings you to me?
Sylvanas had me imprisoned and tortured, fortifying her.
Alright, so hold on. Alright, so his dialogue looks exactly the same.
Stand strong. Stay true.
Alright, so his dialogue is the same as
Must
well.
not lose hope.
And I'm sure, but Bolvar
All have a duty.
and Uther's dialogue will be the same as well.
What is your report?
Alright, so Maiev has nothing new to say either.
I never
Chandris.
shot. Consider it done.
Alright, now for the Windrunners.
We each walk a line. Choose yours. We do what we must.
stand together.
Interesting that Varisa is yellow to me. I'm an Alliance character, and Varisa is still yellow. Everyone else is on the Alliance is green. Even Illyria is green, but Varisa is yellow. Now, I believe if I was Horde, she'd be orange, if I recall. They're orange. Sylvanas. Now let's see what Sylvanas says to an Alliance character. Ah, Nixidon, you have little reason to listen to my words, but I offer them nonetheless. Nothing I say or do can change what I have done. My judgment is at hand, and I accept whatever comes. In life I fought to protect my home. It is good that Azeroth has you and your allies to defend her. Farewell. Alright, very simple, very short. Kind of makes sense. And I will say that it's very interesting to learn more about who Sylvanas was in her early days, before she had the things that we know about happen to her, before the Scourge showed up at her doorstep. You know, kind of also learning about what it was like even in the early days when the Horde first showed up, the demonic Horde led by, you know, Gul'dan and such, and the effect that had, because, well, I'll follow that up in a moment when we hear her sisters talk about their past. Alright, now let's hear what Tyrande says after the cutscene, because the cutscene's going to be exactly the same.
Below lies... Elune, light your way. The Banshee's penance will save countless lost souls. A fate that would not have come to pass had I slain her in Ardenweald. Perhaps that is why Mother Moon stayed my hand. I thank you for your aid. Soon I must return to Azeroth to begin healing the Kaldori and preserving our future.
Alright, so nothing very interesting there. Just straight up immediately says thanks, and alright, I'm going to go back and start healing, you know. I wonder if the game is acknowledging or taking into consideration the fact that I am a night elf. I mean, I'm also a demon hunter, which Maiev said, but that could be just the, hey, we're just going to acknowledge what class you are at the moment, so.
Use every weapon at your disposal.
Greetings. Together we will save Azeroth. For so long there had been little more than hatred and malice in our sister's eyes. To at last see a glimmer of the Sylvanas we knew.
I had ceased hoping for such a thing. I am pleased we had a chance to speak with her, Varisa.
I only wish we'd had more time.
As do I. But if she stays true to her word and sees this obligation through, perhaps one day we will.
It will never be like it was before. The pain she inflicted upon the Kaldori, upon the world. How could she ever answer for it?
I'm not certain she can. But if her penance brings any measure of peace to those she wronged, at least it is a start.
You are right, Lady Sun. Our family has endured so much darkness. We must find a way to cling to hope.
Yes, little moon. Mother. Father. Lilith. They are only memories. We thought our sister was as well. But now, we shall see.
Do you hear the music playing? I believe that is either the music you hear in Eversong Woods, but there's a tad bit of Lament of the Highborn in there, which I have to say this, because the first time I experienced this finale, I didn't know what they were, I didn't understand the context of what was being said there between the two of them, when she refers to her as Lady Sun and her as Little Moon, and they talked about their parents as well as Lilith. Now, I didn't know who Lilith was at the time, because I had never heard about the fact that I had always heard about the Windrunner sisters. I didn't know that they had a brother. That's who Lilith is. He was the youngest, their little brother, and Sylvanas loved him. Absolutely loved him. She was there when he was born. She was one of the first to hold him when he was a newborn. And Lilith's story is, well, it got to me. Especially the interactions with her and Sylvanas. And I don't want to spoil what happened. Obviously, if you haven't heard about him, you can probably guess, because let's be honest, if they're referring to their parents as well as Lilith, you can probably guess what their eventual fate was. There's a reason we have yet to see them here. It's, well, obviously we kind of knew that must mean that at some point they died, which they did. Now, the mom and dad, their death was kind of quick and unexpected. We didn't get much of a closure there. Although it does establish that Sylvanas was pretty close with her father. Her father was actually, pretty friendly and pretty close to Sylvanas in particular. Probably more so than the other two Windrunner sisters. Kind of a very, buddy-buddy mentor type of figure for Sylvanas that she didn't really have. We also learn about the first time that Sylvanas meets Nathanos and the relationship they had and why she eventually grows to really care for him. Yeah, and I mentioned the extra context I gained about Lament of the Highborn from reading this book. It kind of has to do with Lilith. That was the end of a chapter, and let's just say I got kind of choked up at the end of that chapter. Because, again, that moment combined with Lament of the Highborn. Oh. Yeah. Alright, so the other dialogue here for Darien and Bolvar shouldn't be any different. What I am curious about, though, is the dialogue up top. Now, I'm going to take a quick look around the sides here because I mentioned how I saw a clip that there was supposed to be some extra dialogue involving Jaina and a certain familiar face. The thing is, I have yet to actually see that, and I don't know if it's something was just simply not ready yet, or if that was going to be something that happens later. It could be something that is added in patch 9.2.5 as a lead-in to what's going to happen later, though I don't really see how that would somehow connect to what's going to happen in the next expansion, but, whatever. It's more so me just kind of trying to figure out, look at the body, sir, trying to fight that guy. But just trying to see what extra content. It's a fun little bit of dialogue that I found, but I'm just not really sure why it would be connected to that, unless they're just trying to do some more so closure for this in 9.2.5 as opposed to an actual connection to the following expansion with this. Alright, I don't see her, so... Huh. Wait a minute.
Adversity, our constant companion.
I'm trying to remember who Admiral Taylor is. He's there for a reason, and probably because I'm an Alliance character instead of a Horde character, but I really can't remember who that is. Alright, so let's go upstairs and check if the dialogue for them up there is any different. It looks like the dialogue that mainly changed so far has been Greymane's, Anduin's a little bit, and the fact that Jaina had dialogue when the others did not. Or rather, let me say that differently. The fact that Jaina had dialogue on Alliance side when she had absolutely none on the Horde side.
I am Bane, son of Care.
So I'm pretty sure these conversations would be exactly the same.
My people.
So yeah, it looks like their dialogue is completely the same.
Forth and be judged.
So just as a follow-up to what we heard earlier, let's go ahead and hear this dialogue one more time.
I am to see you safe, my king. Even after reading Jaina's reports, I can scarcely imagine the horrors you endured.
There were times I thought I would never escape the jailer's control. The things he made me do.
Those actions were not your fault. You cannot blame yourself.
I should have been stronger.
And Rin, you are the strongest man I know. And when you return to Stormwind, the whole kingdom will tell you the same.
I can't go back, Ken. Not yet.
But the people need...
Turallion will keep the Alliance safe in my absence. And I know you watch over everyone we care about. Old Wolf.
Of course. Take whatever time you need. And when you're ready, please, come home.
Okay. So, oh yeah, there's also the little difference in dialogue for Tyrande. But I'll be honest, I actually like the way it's done on the Horde side, where she takes a moment to actually thank us for helping bring Sylvanas to justice. And she's like, I may never trust you or your Horde, but I do thank you for helping. So the fact that she says that to us as a Horde character, to me, is a bigger deal than her saying to an Alliance character, thanks for helping us, now I'm going to go back to Azeroth and begin healing for the Kaldori and all that. It's just kind of a, whatever. Like, to me, the fact that she would actually thank a Horde character is a bigger deal and a bigger gesture from her as a character. You know, it would be something from her, since she's really lacked, being a character, like, throughout this entire game, but... Anyways, obviously, I'm curious how these are going to be followed up on when we get to Dragonflight. Maybe there'll be some follow-up and wrap-up when we get to 9.2.5. As usual, if there is, I will try and find it so I can be able to show it to you guys. And by the way, in case you are wondering, hey, what are you already thinking ahead of time for what you're going to do for Dragonflight? Well, based on what I know at the moment, obviously I have to show you guys an Evoker. Obviously I will make an Evoker and play that, because it's going to be the newest class. I have to see what it's like. I have to see what unique story stuff is like, and it's going to have its own starting zone. So obviously I'm going to try and show you that. As far as will it be our main for the entire expansion, I mean, it's possible. I mean, the way that this goes... I may end up, like, I basically have at this point now have, I had, like in BFA, I had my Shaman as my Horde main, and then this Demon Hunter as my Alliance main. In this expansion, my Death Knight was my main, overall. While I had a few other characters to do the other Covenant stuff. And then when we got to this patch, my Death Knight is, of course, still my main, while my Demon Hunter on the Horde side has become, like, my main alt for when we do some other stuff with alts. And it's just mainly because my Demon Hunter is just, I still have so much fun playing my Demon Hunter. Both of them, Demon Hunter is still probably my, most fun class to play. It may even be now my favorite class to play in this game. I don't want to hear it from those who talk about how it's a brain-dead class that only requires you to push 2 buttons. I get so sick of hearing that garbage. There's more to a class than how high you are in the meter, you know. People forget that sometimes. But I'm very much considering swapping my main from my Death Knight to my Demon Hunter when we get to Dragonflight. So, I mean, probably makes sense when you think about it that the two classes I would main in the next expansion would be two classes that can glide, because they both will have wings, and they would each have only 2 specs. Now, I like the initial stuff I heard about the Evoker. 2 specs, a ranged DPS and a healer, with stuff that's unique for the, what's it, the Drachnid? Is that what the race is called? The Drachnid? The Drake race that we're playing. So when you think about it, the 2 classes I would play, Demon Hunter would be a tank or in melee DPS, while an Evoker would be a ranged DPS and a healer, and both can use wings to glide and get around. Plus, we're going to have, the flying stuff early on, but, still being able to glide and deal with, not have to worry about fall damage and being able to double jump. It just makes getting around the initial stuff without flying much easier to deal with, honestly. So I think by the time we get to once more information comes out, especially when the actual PTR hits about how the classes are going to be going forward. Now, keep in mind, I chose Death Knight not because of class changes. I chose it because I thought it would have some interesting, unique, relevant lore and story content for Death Knights. That didn't really end up being the case, honestly. When you think about it, aside from being referred to as Deathlord, there was really nothing else that stood out for you to be that was unique for Death Knights, other than the one little tidbit I found out if you choose to be Night Fae, and Alexstrasza has a unique interaction with you, which is going to be followed up on in Dragonflight, from what I have heard. So, that's interesting. But that was essentially it when I think about it. There was really nothing else that was that paid off for you playing a Death Knight, that was unique for Death Knights. I miss that unique class content that we had back in Legion, and I want more of that. So if that ends up not being the case when we get to Dragonflight, with the exception of the Evoker, because, new class having to do with the new area and dragons and all that, then maybe we'll just settle for my Demon Hunter going forward. If I'm going to play, I may as well, because I had a blast going through the Alliance content BFA because I was playing on my Demon Hunter, and in hindsight, I am so glad I made that choice. I really am. So, that's my initial thinking, but obviously we are a long ways away from that. We are months away from that being a thing. We don't even have an alpha yet for Dragonflight. So, we are in such early stages. People think, we're going to have it by the end of this year. No. If they're smart, that will not be the case. The last 2 expansions, people have criticized that it was pushed out too early, that it wasn't ready, that they pushed it out way too early, which is hilarious because Shadowlands was delayed. It was delayed. It had a delayed release, and people still say it was released too early. And they said the same thing about BFA. So, if they're smart, they will not release it early. Sometime next year, once they have had time to really work on it, So, and, I'll try and, cover some of that stuff like I did with Shadowlands as we approach that stuff coming out, my initial thoughts on it, what I've learned, anything like that would feel like worth sharing in a video. So, this could possibly be the last part, but then again, I still want to show you that conversation I heard about on another YouTube video, which I'm still waiting to find out. Like I said, if more stuff comes out in 9.25, story-wise, I will try and show it to you guys. So until then, I'll see you guys next time.